This video is going to be a bit different to my others, and it's not going to have the same quality of my usual videos either. But I thought that it was necessary to inform you all on how Sense Skeptic has reacted to the release of my 2-hour semi-documentary on him. I want to be clear that after this video was released, though I didn't expect a response, I did hope for one. It does seem contradictory that those in the skeptic community generally don't actually respond to criticisms, seemingly at all. Thunderfoot, for example, is arguably the most popular name in skeptic circles, and he has never responded to the likes of H-Bomberguy and Sean, whose videos both provided very in-depth criticisms of Thunderfoot back in the days of Gamergate. And that seems quite hypocritical coming from those who tout statements like, "We can take the stage with anybody," and a YouTube channel reminding people how important critical thinking skills are. So what happened after this video came out? Some of my viewers and followers messaged him on Twitter and various platforms about my new video. His first response was on Twitter, and it was basically what I expected. "Have you seen the 2-hour video someone made targeting you and your claims? This one. Little coattail rider looking for a payday. Not bothering with them at all. They do the same thing with Thunderfoot." So the coattail rider point is one that I brought up in the introduction section of that video, so that's within the first 5 minutes. Firstly, if I wanted a payday, I wouldn't be making videos on you or on Thunderfoot, and they certainly wouldn't be 2 hours long. I'd be making 10-minute Starship game over videos. Those do much better than actual discussion on Starship itself. If I wanted views from this video in particular, I'd have split it into 3 parts to maximize views. The thing is, regardless of my intentions, you'd think that someone who claims to be a skeptic would take the time to address criticisms and correct themselves when they are proven wrong. This is something Sense Skeptic flat out refuses to do. Adding corrections to your videos really isn't that hard at all. For example, on the aforementioned 2-hour long video, I had added a multitude of corrections before the video even went public. This conversation also begs the question, why am I a coattail rider for making content that is critical of you, but your content being critical of Elon Musk doesn't make you a coattail rider? So from his very first interaction with this new video, it was made clear to me that a response probably wasn't going to happen, just as I suspected. What I didn't suspect was how badly he was going to react when more people started asking him if he was going to make a response. Every one of your tweets and retweets from the last 2 days is about Tesla, no matter how valid your argument, and that's a lot of focus. Not Elon in general, Tesla, and Kumi makes one vid and is a coattail rider. Yep, they are. But why? I honestly don't get it. Your whole thing is being an honest skeptic. Why are you reacting like this to a good faith review of your content? You don't have to like being challenged, but why go straight to personal assaults without challenging the content of the video? Time in a day, and tired of spinning wheels with lost causes. We already did a 2-hour interview with one of their buddies and answered every single one of their questions live. Then they lost the recording. No fucks left to give to them. So far his reasons for not responding boil down to 1. The coattail rider argument, which is a very fucking weak one, and the interview that LCS Big Mike did with him, that I actually cover in the 2-hour long video about him he clearly hasn't watched yet. One thing that kind of frustrates me that he has brought up on Twitter and in his Discord server is that he thinks that I'm behind a bunch of troll accounts that share my video around and harass him, and this just isn't true. I have 2 Twitter accounts and 2 Discord accounts. I have the Astro Kiwi Twitter and Discord account, and I have another of each which I use for personal use. Also, you can tell this one isn't me because the grammar is fucking awful. If I were going to use a sock puppet account, I would also use proper grammar. Enter ESG Hound. A quick introduction. ESG Hound is one of the most vocal critics of SpaceX's activity at Boca Chica, and has actually worked with Sense Skeptic in some videos. I say worked with. Sense Skeptic took some of ESG's work and then butchered it and put that in a video. Anyway, before my video came out, they were on decent enough terms with one another. However, ESG Hound and I had actually been having chats on and off in the days prior to the release of the video. I sent ESG what Sense Skeptic had said about my video at that point in time. Also, please excuse my bird in the background, he's very chatty at the moment. I also sent him some screenshots that I was sent by someone who, independently mind you, I did not ask them to do this, and I had 0 correspondence with them about messaging Sense Skeptic before they actually did it. Anyway, they baited Sense Skeptic to say some lovely things about me, and also revealed that they did in fact watch my last video on them. That video, if you remember, is the one that I have privated and retracted. I addressed that in the intro of the new one. At this point, I'd also like to point out just how rude he's being when talking about me. My tone when talking about him has generally always been neutral with a side of sarcasm, but his tone when talking about me is just plain hateful. You're seriously promoting Astro Kiwi? Are you nuts? What's the problem? If you have to ask. We had a nice chat about public policy. I don't know what to say, dude. I don't ascribe to pure tribalism, man. I've been clear on that from day one. Their entire online presence right now is based on riding our coattails and Thunderfoots. I saw there was a video posted. How is that coattail riding? If someone calls you out on something, you should respond. I do it to people with 10 followers. Got better things to do than punch down to twits like that, or associate with accounts that promote them. How is number of followers or subs a sign of anything? I'm genuinely curious. Are you not playing off Musk's fame by debunking him? You should be glad someone is calling you out. It legitimizes you. Not playing off Musk, trying to help people see they're risking their savings by believing him and investing in him. Respond to specific accusations and admit when you're wrong. I've had to do it several times. Kiwi isn't even a Musk stan. I literally edited an entire 3 paragraphs because someone with 12 followers made a correct observation about a calculation. I don't know, I'm not following that closely. Kiwi is a fucking idiot. And our time is better spent talking with, for example, the lawyers from the Solar City bailout who are sending us the briefs before they go public. Radio stations in Texas wanting information about what we've found out is happening down there. Lawyers in Arizona planning on using information we've dug up in their landmark slander cases. I disagree. You would be best served to respond to specific claims, in my humble opinion. You do you, though. I'd be mad at myself if I never made a mistake, because that would mean I didn't take any risks. They talk in circles, guaranteed that videos rehashed points we've spoken to them about before. I'd also be mad if I never changed or edited something. Videos don't get edited after publication, you should know that. Okay, she's been pretty sharp about several things. And then we get to here. One thing you might not know about ESG is that he absolutely cannot stand bigotry. And at this point, Common Sense Skeptic truly unmasks himself as a bigot. It's also worth mentioning that Common Sense Skeptic only uses they/them pronouns for me in public, so they know that sharing their true thoughts on this makes him look like a cunt. In this screenshot, he's referring to the time Dr. Phil invited an alt-right anti-trans activist and YouTuber to talk about trans issues. That's where he's getting his information on this from. Another person messaged him and sent me these screenshots, and he basically just reiterated what he said to others, and claimed that I have duplicate accounts. He also insulted me quite a bit. Keep in mind, this is someone whose followers still think that he's arguing in good faith. At this point, ESG Hound makes a thread about my video, to which Common Sense Skeptic replied this. Firstly, he says again that since my first video was so poorly done, I didn't take it down by the way, don't lie, I unlisted it. It's still available and the link to it is in the description of my new video. I retracted that video for a reason. Common Sense Skeptic, before blocking him, messages ESG with some attempted rebuttals at my new video. So I'm going to go through those here, but before I start, it is very clear he still hasn't watched the video, because I address things that he says here in that video. His first point is him, again, trying to find a piss poor excuse to disregard the video as a whole. The explosion of Starship Super Heavy does not line up with reasonable predictions. 64 kilotons for a fully stacked Starship, and even your lower numbers of around 15 kilotons are completely fucking wrong and insane. And supported by other scientists? Yeah, right. Source. The spacesuit thing. The argument he is referring to here is from, guess where, my shitty old video. This point is, by design, not the point I make about spacesuits in my new video. Firstly, we are not arguing about what is standard to get to Mars. We are arguing about what Starship can realistically do with its Delta-v budget. There's a link to a Twitter thread about this in the description, but Starship has more than enough Delta-v to get to Mars in 4 months or even less. You pulled 9 months completely out of your ass because you thought 6 months was unreasonable because Starship is bigger. Yes, you actually said that.
The expected transit expected to take up to 9 months, given the large size of the ship compared to Mars rover missions. Transit expected to take up to 9 months, given the large size of the ship compared to Mars rover missions. Given the large size of the ship compared to Mars rover missions.
Second, the time it spends in Earth orbit is irrelevant to the crew, since the crew would not be on board during refueling. Once the ship is fully refueled, then and only then do the crew launch, rendezvous, dock with, and board the Starship that goes to Mars. There is no reason for the crew to be on board wasting life support and eating into their radiation budgets before they can leave Earth orbit. Third, I've established the 9-month number is horseshit for a crewed Starship journey. Why do the supplies have to be fresh? Why can they not be shelf-stable food packets? Why can they not be frozen? So with that, you are nil for nil. Even if you had the balls to respond in full to my criticisms, I doubt your rebuttals would be any better than the DMs you sent to ESG. If you're a Common Sense Skeptic fan, I don't know how you can defend his behaviour here. I expected nothing from him, and yet he still always finds a way to disappoint.